Republicans are scrambling to pass a short-term spending plan to avoid a possible government shutdown. But some Democrats say they will not vote to keep the government open without fixing DACA, the program that protects many undocumented immigrants.
Republicans need at least 9 Democratic votes to pass any funding measures through the Senate. GOP leaders are also facing opposition from some conservative House members as well. Niall Stanage is a White House columnist for The Hill, and he joins us now from Washington with the latest on the shutdown. Good to see you.
And you.
So, will Senate Democrats allow a short-term spending bill to pass without an immigration deal? That's the question that's on everybody's mind right now.
They don't want to. I mean, that's the basic situation. They would much prefer to use their leverage to try to get an immigration deal. Now, it's not just an either or. At the moment, it looks like Republicans are pressing for some shorter-term deal that would include an extension of the children's health insurance program. That's a popular program. It's one that Democrats want to see protected. So the question is, would they go for a deal that didn't have the immigration fix, but did have the CHIP, as the acronym is, a CHIP fix in it?
So, Niall, what are the risks the Democrats are taking here by potentially forcing this government shutdown? I mean, clearly the political winds are in their favor. Some 70% of Americans would like to see a fix on this, but there is a risk.
Well, I also think, Niall, attaching CHIP to the bill is probably also one of the risks, because just like DACA, people feel very strongly about CHIP. Do you really want to be the party voting against CHIP?
Right, and this is, of course, the dilemma that faces Democrats. So on the one hand, the CHIP offer would seem to be one that they should accept. If they don't, and if they do go for a government shutdown, I think we're in a very unpredictable situation then. Because, yes, people who follow every twist and turn of politics, or who are inclined toward the Democrats anyway, certainly they might blame Republicans for closing the government. They'll say Republicans are in control of everything. But there's a broader danger that it becomes not something that Republicans are blamed for, but that Washington is blamed for, that the political establishment writ large is blamed for. And obviously that second scenario would be not as good for Democrats as one where Republicans bore the brunt of the blame.
Yeah, in this case, the Republicans rather, aren't just fighting with the Democrats over this, they're also fighting with other Republicans. So where do House GOP defense hawks and conservatives, where do they stand on this? Will they give the leadership another month to negotiate?
This is an important question, because they, like the Democrats in a way, or like the mirror image of the Democrats, they would prefer not to. Defence hawks and fiscal conservatives would prefer a longer-term spending deal. Will they accept a shorter-term one? Perhaps, but from the defence hawks' perspective, this postpones needed military spending. And from the fiscal conservatives' perspective, it's just a kicking the can down the road. That's something that they have protested about a lot in the past, not eager to do it again. But again, it's that choice. Do you vote for it, or do you face a shutdown? It's a politically difficult choice.
Niall, I want to ask you about the appearance yesterday before the Senate Judiciary Committee of the Defense, the Homeland Secretary, Kirsten Nielsen. What did you make of her responses to direct questions from members of the Senate about what she heard during that White House meeting with President Trump and other lawmakers? Senator Cory Booker appeared on CBS This Morning today, and he flat out said that she was lying.
I think a whole lot of people will view her testimony on that point with extreme skepticism. Just as a matter of common sense, it seems unlikely that a president of the United States would use the kind of language that has been reported, and you would not recall that. It is conspicuous, I think, that the Secretary did not outright deny it. She sort of took refuge in rather unclear or opaque language sometimes. I don't think that was a great political moment for her, and I think Senator Booker was one of the people to the fore in making those objections heard.
So now, before we let you go, I've got to ask you about former White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon. He has now been issued 2 subpoenas in the ongoing Russia probes, one by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, which is obviously a criminal investigation, and also another one by a House panel. He was questioned extensively yesterday and didn't have much to say, didn't give Congress very much. But what does this indicate to you about these investigations, him being subpoenaed now?
In the case of the House, I think it is a protest against the invoking of executive privilege. By all reports, he invoked executive privilege quite a lot to avoid telling them what they want to know. With regard to the special counsel, it's a little more complicated. It seems as if Robert Mueller's office could use this as a bargaining chip, that they could offer Steve Bannon the prospect of just talking with investigators rather than being subpoenaed before a grand jury. And one final point, if I could make it quickly, it seems like this suggests that Bannon is not a direct target of the Mueller investigation, because this process of subpoenaing is not one that is normally used if the person in question is a target.
All right, Niall Stanage, thank you so much as always for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.